friends, what's happening? How we doing today? This is Andy coming to you again from here, my Daily Funk Club headquarters. It's Saturday morning. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Colorado, and yeah, I've got a busy weekend here with gigs next few days, and yeah, man, it's great. The weekend's here, and it's beautiful. Colorado in winter is absolutely wonderful, and I love it. I thought I'd make a little video for you today to show you my P-Bass. This is a wonderful instrument. It's 1977 Fender Precision Bass. Has a rosewood fingerboard on it, natural finish, and everything's completely original on it. Nothing's been changed at all. And it's a wonderful bass. You know, I'm really happy I have this instrument. You know, when I was a kid, I was talking to someone, you know, on one of my many Facebook bass-related threads and stuff in the comments, and we were talking about the different Fender Precision basses, and everybody has their own history with having a P-Bass at one time or another. I think everybody should have at least one good P-Bass in their arsenal of instruments. You know, it's my favorite of them all. Anyways, we were talking about the different eras of Fender basses, you know, and you know, I think that these days a lot of people would love to have like a 56 or 59 and up, you know, early 60s, or, you know, even the late 60s. You know, they've become so desirable and so amazing. But when I was a kid in 1982, I remember even in the neighborhood with my friends and some of the older friends that I had, there, you could get 70 to 74 P-Basses for $400, $450 all the time. I remember hearing of people selling them, and they would tell me, you know, so-and-so has a P-Bass for sale for $400. And, you know, when you're 12 or 13, 400 might as well be 4,000. And it's just so funny because these days, you know, they've really gone up in value. This is a 1977. Okay, nowhere near the collectible factor of, say, like you know, a 60s or definitely not a 50s, you know. And this was like $1,700, which is a good price. So God, they've really gone up. I love it. It's a good one. It's got the rosewood fingerboard on it. I'm not an expert on the Fender lineage of how the pickups went, you know, in terms of how they differed, but I think that the late 70s ones, like this one, are hotter. Maybe they're wound differently and they have a hotter output or whatever, but this one I have the foam in the bridge. You know, I have a little piece of thin foam up in there, and the cover is on there, and for me it's perfect. And I have the tone, I keep the tone at about 80% usually. So here's it with the tone is all the way up, 100%. That kind of a P-Bass thing when you have the tone all the way up. But I like to have it at about 80%. 10% place that I love so much. You can go the other way, keep turning it down, it's about 20%. Is no tone at all. So you got a lot of different types of tones just within this bass guitar, and I like it at about 80%. That's my favorite. So you know, when I'm out on a gig and I'm using a P bass, I'm constantly messing with, not constantly, but I do mess with the tone control a little bit. And, you know, just, it's one of the most beautiful things about the P bass is the passive tone control. Obviously, it's the only control of that and the volume. But just turning it, you know, little tiny, you know, making little tiny adjustments really makes it, you get used to your P bass. And I have a whole bunch of them, but you get used to how the tone control reacts with the pickup in this and that particular instrument, and you get used to just turning it just little tiny little bit of amounts to find that perfect place that you want for that to fit perfectly with the song you're playing. And that's the beauty of a P bass, you know, is they're so simple. There's not much to them, and you know, I said it before. Sometimes when we have too many, well, not too many, sometimes when we have a lot of options on an instrument, a lot of controls and a lot of knobs and things like that, a lot of EQ controls and things like that, just because we're there, we might be inclined to constantly be screwing around with them. And, you know, I kind of like to, you know, set it in one kind of place and then just make little minor adjustments that are really easy to do and fast to do. You know, not a whole lot of this. You know, when I see people up there playing and they stop the groove and they're kind of trying to keep it going with their left hand, but they're making these adjustments and then they do it again, then they're going away and and losing the right hand feel for the sake of constantly dicking around with the controls. It's you know. It's at the expense of the groove. So, for whatever that's worth, you know what I mean? You know, do your thing. You know, everybody should do their own thing however they want to. But when it comes to P bass, that's what I like about them, is they're simple. And you know, you can set it in one place and really get a great tone, and then just by messing around with the tone control, you can have a variety of sounds. And also, depending on where you play, on the playing surface, it's got this big huge playing surface and there's nothing in the way, so you can slap, or you can play with your fingers over the fingerboard or over the pickup. You can dig in hard, you play back by the bridge, palm mute, play with the pick. You know, there's just so many cool and kind of easy user-friendly ways to have fun with a P bass or some sort of derivation of a P bass. You know what I'm saying? This is an actual Fender, and it's one of the good ones from this era. And there's lots of other choices out there now. There's boutique versions and relic versions, and there's lots of old vintage stuff made in Japan. So yeah, right on. P bass.